WWE Raw review for the December 1st episode of Raw. I'm Will. We're missing Brandon. I am the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast for the night. Let's cheers, talk about some wrestling. Get to it. Obviously, Brandon is not here because we got hit with a ton of snow here in Kansas City, and so it wasn't very safe for him to get here. So we made sure to keep him safe. I'll take over tonight. We'll be just fine because we had a fantastic episode of Raw, follow-up to Survivor Series War Games. If you haven't checked out our review, go check it out on YouTube and podcast, and make sure to stop by our live streams because it is a ton of fun. And tonight's live stream with all you guys in there, plus a great show on YouTube, that was fantastic. But let's get into this thing. I will point out Dom and Liv, they did show up to the venue today. There wasn't like a promo or anything right away, but they showed up in a lowrider. That was sick. I had to mention it. But we get Rhea and Io to start the show. They are obviously the victors of the War Games match, this Survivor Series, and they said it was Monday Night Rio, and they won the war, but the fight is far from over because they're here for revenge on the Kabuki Warriors. And Io even said, "Hey, Asuka, no one's ready for Rio," and that's when Charlotte came out. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, they came out, and they said that they are very happy for the fact that they were all able to work together, win themselves the War Games match, but the titles, those are theirs because they never got a rematch for their titles. And I was sitting there like, yep, that makes a lot of sense. But Rhea basically said, hey, respect you, respect your opinion, respect what we did in the War Games match, but get to the back of the line. And that's when Alexa Bliss was like, all right, you guys can try to prove it. And Charlotte was like, yeah, how about we do that tonight in the main event? Hey, we'll do a number one contender match. And Io walked up and said, that sounds mighty fine to me, basically. So we set that up right away. Adam Pearce said that we are going to get that in the main event. I will absolutely pop this first segment because it makes all the logic sense in the world. Obviously, Rhea and Io have been chasing the Kabuki Warriors for a better part of a couple months now because of the drama between Asuka and them. And then Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, they never got their rematch for the tag team titles. So here we are. They want their rematch, but instead of just getting a rematch right away or just invoking a rematch clause, we get to have a fantastic match between the two of them. We will get to that later because I do have some thoughts on what happened, but I will give this opening segment a solid pop. We'll move on though, because Adam Pearce was backstage when Ivy Nile walked up to him. Ivy Nile, we haven't seen her for months. She hasn't been in a match for months. I mean, we saw her last week backstage after Maxine won the title, and that's about it. And she walked up and she said, I want an Intercontinental title match. And Adam Pearce said, okay, so we're going to get that. She's going to be first up in line for the IC title. And I was sitting there like, the hell are we doing here? Why did she earn that? I'm not going to be too mad about it, I guess, because I do like Ivy Nile, but it's like, come on now. We're not going to have people earn title matches at all anymore. She didn't even like call out the champion in the ring or anything. Like, this is as easy as can be. I don't know why everybody isn't just walking up to Adam Pearce and saying, give me a title match, good sir, because odds are he's going to go, crap, I forgot to book a match for next week, so you can go ahead and have it. But that's when Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman walked up to Adam Pearce, and Pearce was like, what the hell did you guys do at Survivor Series? You set him up. Who was the masked man? That's your fault. And Paul Heyman was like, that wasn't me, bro. Like, no, that actually wasn't me. Why are you blaming me? Not here to talk about that, Mr. Adam Pearce. I am here to talk about, hey, this guy right next to me, Braun Breaker, he pinned your world champion CM Punk, so let's have a chat. And they were like, okay, let's have a chat. And they walked into his office. So more on that to follow as well, because we would lead to our first semifinals match of the John Cena Farewell Tour. Last time is now tournament. So we had 4 people remaining going into this night, and we got our first match. It was LA Knight versus Jey Uso. And the spot of the match being first of the night, a lot of us in the chat were very worried. A lot of us in the live stream were worried. It was like, okay, we're kind of setting up here to just let people be disappointed. First match of the night, get a Jey Uso win out of the way, and we move on. Well, good stuff happened here. This was easily their best interaction between the two of them. LA Knight went for a BFT right away, and they never stopped the fast-paced action. I mean, they were moving throughout this entire match. LA Knight even hit like a Death Valley driver at one point. Jay hit a spear. They both got 1-2 ooze off of that. Eventually, though, toward the end of the match, we're going fast, like I said, boom, boom, pow. Jay reverses another BFT, bounces it off the rope, hits a spear on LA Knight, doesn't go for the pin, gets up to the top rope, hits the Uso splash off the top rope, and lands right on LA Knight. We get the count 1-2. Well, LA Knight doesn't just kick out. He rolls up, he grabs the shoulders and rolls up Jay into a pin. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight defeats Jey Uso in the last time is now tournament to move on. I honestly couldn't be happier about this. The end spot, the end scene of like LA Knight eating the spear and eating the splash. I get it. He just ate 2 finishers, right? So a lot of people, by wrestling logic, it's like you should be down and out at the very least. How is he able to, get the shoulders and get the energy to get the shoulders up? What is this guy, Super Cena? Sure, that might be a little bit too much. But in my mind, it was kind of like the last thing I wanted to see was Jey Uso versus LA Knight, Jey Uso versus Gunther again in the final. That was the last thing I wanted to see. I've been very much behind the whole LA Knight train. We need more for LA Knight. We need more for LA Knight. So going into this match, it was kind of, in my opinion, like a by any means possible, get this guy the win. Hey, that was by any means possible. He gets the roll up out of the splash. 1, 2, 3. You could tell the crowd was absolutely shocked. LA Knight rolls out of the ring right away, looks in the camera and says, "You'll be seeing me soon, John Cena." So I was extremely excited that they gave LA Knight this win. It feels like they're listening a little bit. We'll talk about what the final is going to look like here in a minute. But seeing LA Knight pin Jey Uso, good stuff on my card. But that wasn't it. I will pop that. I'll give that part a pop. But that wasn't actually all that happened, because then we cut to Jey Uso in the ring, and Jay's pissed. He's sitting there. The crowd's kind of yeeting, but then, of course, you got the haters yelling, "You suck." He gets out of the ring, and he starts headbutting the announce table. He's very mad at himself, stupid, stupid. Well, then he just starts destroying the Prime Station. He throws that thing everywhere. He then punches the steel steps, and he takes off away from the ring. He takes all the way off to the back. We come back to him 30 minutes later. Jackie Redmond catches him before he leaves, and she's like, "Whoa, have you?" She starts asking him about the masked man. He's like, "Man, I don't give a damn about no masked man. I don't give a damn about anybody." He says, "Roman may be right. Maybe those titles only look good on him, not me." So Jey Uso is in full crash out mode after his loss to LA Knight, and I think it's absolutely a fantastic way to do things. We've all been sitting here for a long time talking about how the Yeet shtick is a little bit up. I'm cool with him being the Yeet man, right? Selling Yeet shirts, that being his right? LA Knight, his I'm okay with Jey Uso having that sort of thing going on for him. The problem is, that's all he's really been for the better part of a year now, right? And you even had it kind of all come to a head at War Games when he climbed up onto the freaking cage. He started yeeting. Whether you liked it or not, that is something that happened, and something where it's okay, well, we're really, really doing this, right? War Games should be a war, and this guy's climbing on top of the cage and singing and dancing instead of being involved in it. So I've been very much okay, we need to reel him back a little bit, get him doing something more emotional, more character driven, because his stuff, when you give Jay the right stuff in the Bloodline storyline, when you give him some good emotional depth, that's when Jey Uso really does his work. And so the second I saw him crash out, and the second I saw him look at Jackie in the eyes and be maybe Roman was right, I was hell yeah, here we go. We're finally going to start bringing Jay back to what he does best. He's going to be his emotional self. He's going to start to do really good character work. I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully this Jey Uso crash out leads to that sort of stuff, and maybe we can reel back the eating just a little bit. All right, just a little bit. We will move on. I will pop that as well. I'm going to pop the hell out of this show because it was great. Lyra and Bayley were backstage talking to Adam Pearce, and they want the tag titles. And he's like, "Well, are you even good?" He looks at Bayley, and you're "Hey, your attitude lately, it's been a little wonky." And Lyra's like, "We're good most of the time." And Adam Pearce is like, "I'll throw your names into the gauntlet of people. You're in the realm." And that's when the Kabuki Warriors came up, and they blamed the War Games loss on Bayley. They're like, "If you would have joined us, we would have won." And Bayley's like, "No, you're just a bunch of stupid idiots. You shouldn't have been mean to me all this time." And then Asuka basically just starts to call Bayley a loser. She's like, "I got the title, you got nothing." And Kyrie even puts the green chain that she brought in the War Games match around her shoulders and says, "You can pretend this is a title." And then, of course, Asuka's like, "Kyrie!" And then they walk away. So more on that later. But it was kind of a weird little thing with the Kabuki Warriors blaming Bayley. Then, good stuff here. Dom. Dirty 2 belts Dom. Titles and tendies. He comes out. And Dom comes out with all of J-Day except for Liv Morgan. He comes out and he says that John Cena was the GOAT. He is the GOAT. And I beat the GOAT which means I'm the freaking GOAT. And I was cheering this. I was like, but yep, that's the logic. It makes sense. The math is mathing. He goes, I did not do it alone. Obviously, I couldn't do it with my boys. And he gives JD and Finn a nice love. And then he gives the girls his love. He says, thank you all. But he says one in particular, mi amor, or whatever he says, Liv. And Liv does come out and she says, I'm back. No one saw me coming, especially Mr. Jonathan Cena. And Dom takes the mic, or has a mic, and he basically says that they knew that John Cena would see the Judgment Day shenanigans coming from a mile away, but he would not see Liv coming. And Liv says she misses the gang. But she's very mad because all she's been hearing about since she left is all the downfalls of the Judgment Day, right? He says that she's been told that they are weak, that they've lost all their gold, and they are falling apart. But that changes tonight. She said that we, the Judgment Day, run Monday Night Raw. And then something a little bit weird happens. Liv turns to Dom and like smacks the shit out of him and then hops on him and gives him a good kiss, or butterfly kisses, or whatever it is. So Liv and Dom, maybe there's a little bit of a toxic relationship happening with them. I don't know about that. Maybe we were teasing that, but at the end of the day, this was all about Dom being Dom, celebrating a win over the GOAT. Judgment Day looking like they're going to be boosted up into the good, back into being a stronger faction, and Liv Morgan being back. And I loved every second of it. I will be popping this. We will be talking about all of this a little bit later, though. So I'm going to save my thoughts for that. But great promo there from all of them involved, and just Liv being back is great. We would get like a cool little Maxine Dupree training montage. She's been training with Natty. And it's like a Rocky training scene. It's very like they're in the dungeon. It's very close up, sweat dripping. They're beating the hell out of each other, and you can barely see who's who. One thing I will note is when Maxine was training with her, we gotta look at Natty, and that was not Natalya. That was badass Natty, the heel-ish Natty that goes around the indie scenes whooping up on people. If we are gonna keep that belt on Maxine for a long time, or at least a decent stint, right? We're not just gonna have her be a 1 month long IC title winner, and we do go the route of her and Natty being by each other's side. If they are teasing the Natalya heel turn here and making her Natty, that would be absolutely awesome. That's something that we should all have been, or they should have done a long time ago. She's much better as a heel than she is like the whole like Heart Foundation Natalya, right? So if you really want to do this, you get Maxine some nice defenses against like an Ivy Nile for a little bit while Natalya is in her corner being all lovey-lovey, and then we get the heel turn from Natalya and she turns into Natty. I would 100% be down for that, because it could not only reestablish Natalya as being a big threat on the roster and being interesting there, but that really builds an opportunity for Maxine to be more than just like the gimmick IC title winner for the time being. So I really do hope they end up doing that down the road. We would get multiple things backstage of Adam Pearce talking to like referees and stuff, basically saying like, be on the lookout for the masked man. He thinks it's Seth Rollins. He said that Seth Rollins was seen walking around Survivor Series without his brace on. And obviously after SummerSlam this year with the ruse of the century, they're all on lookout for another ruse of the century with Seth Rollins. So that's kind of what Pearce is thinking. Pearce is thinking that the masked man is Seth Rollins here. But then we get our tag team title match. Dragon Lee and AJ Styles, they take on the New Day. This was fantastic. Now, would I like some freaking story in this tag division? Of course. But you do have enough pieces here, right? AJ Styles is AJ freaking Styles. And then the New Day, a lot of people are not liking this whole run that they're doing with the funeral gimmick, and their heel turn was great, but then dropped. They're not done justice after a great heel turn. And so people have kind of left their stock at the door for the New Day. But they have enough just like greatest of all time tag team stock built up through the years to where they're good enough to be in a match like this and you're believable. And it's great. And the New Day did great things here. They attacked them right away. They were being heels this entire time. They honestly dominated AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for most of this match. Dragon Lee got his shtick though. I mean, he did one of those like running Hurricane Ranas where he jumps over the top rope and he Hurricane Rana Kofi Kingston off the apron onto Waller and Xavier Woods on the outside. So dude just eats whenever you give him a chance. But eventually we got all the shenanigans happening. I think Kofi or Xavier Woods just gets taken out for some. He's on the outside of the ring. He's healing. They have Dragon Lee drape Kofi Kingston over the top rope, and then he jumps up and kicks him in the back of the head, which creates enough force for Kofi Kingston to bounce off the top rope. AJ Styles is there, catches him into the Styles Clash, but he waits for Dragon Lee to go and suicide dive into Xavier Woods and Waller on the outside. We get the Styles Clash. We get the 1, 2, 3. We get AJ Styles and Dragon Lee getting the win in a fantastic match that I will be popping, so I'm going to give it another pop. We also get the confirmation that next week they walked up to Adam Pearce and they were like, hey, we defended our tag team titles here tonight. Nobody ever does that. We quite enjoyed that. I want to do it next week, and I want to do it against the War Raiders. So again, we don't have a lot of tag team, storylines happening on Raw or SmackDown for that matter. But we just got through months and months of like the Judgment Day and the other teams just hoarding those titles and doing nothing with them. If we're going to see AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defending these titles on weekly WWE television, that's a W. So I'm looking forward to it. Not much to say in terms of, my thoughts on them winning or losing this match. But the fact that we get to see tag team title matches on Raw every week, I'll take it and I'll leave it. Then we would go on. This was good. Stephanie Vaquer, she defeated Nikki Bella, obviously, at Survivor Series this weekend, which was a decent match, good, but obviously all of us have been saying we want more. Specifically from the promo side of Stephanie Vaquer, we need some characters, basically what we're saying. Well, she's backstage with Jackie Redmond. Jackie basically says, what's next after your big win against Nikki Bella? And Stephanie said, well, I showed everybody that if you do me wrong, you will burn. That's what she said. And she says she can't wait for her next challenger. When Stephanie says this, Liv Morgan shows up. And she is towering over Steph, by the way. I mean, I think she was wearing heels, but like the photo, like she's like way outsizing her. And she says, hey, just so you know, I'm back. And congrats, by the way. And she walks away. So Liv comes back to Raw. And one of the first things she does is stare down Stephanie Vaquer in that World Heavyweight Championship. And I know a lot of people are sitting there like, we should probably wait. And I'm one of them. I'm kind of like let's let the Judgment Day side of things cook and see what we can do with Liv and Raquel and Roxanne and that relationship and about her and Dom. Are they good? Are they toxic? And all this other stuff. But man, oh man, the second that they locked eyes, the second that Liv entered the frame with Stephanie Vaquer sitting there with the world title, I was like, dude, I'm sold. You can make that a main event of a Rumble. You could carry that all the way into freaking WrestleMania. I don't know if she's still favored to win the Rumble or if she should win the Rumble or Chamber. She's always the runner-up to one of those things, right? So it does feel like she's due for a Rumble or Chamber win. If you do want to have Stephanie Vaquer hold that title and get all the way to WrestleMania and you somehow get Liv Morgan involved via a Rumble win or a Chamber win, or even if you want to run this freaking ASAP and have this be Stephanie's next program, I'm 100% in. The second that they locked eyes, I was like, bro, give me that any day of the week. Liv is right back, and Liv is ready to get that title back. I love Steph. Let's get it. So I'm down for that. We will move on, though, because the Vision are the Vision. They have to be here. But the Vision didn't start or end Raw. Give claps where claps are due. Well, if you guys weren't there for the live stream, you will know, or I will tell you that during this live stream, we were sitting there as a group talking about the fact that, man, the rumors about Braun Breaker versus CM Punk, those are very enticing, but we need some more promo work from Braun Breaker. We're sold on his athletics. We're sold on him just being a dominating force, but there's something about he's just missing the verbal promo ability, or we thought so. We want to see that. They delivered right away here because the Vision come out. It's Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, by the way. So maybe it wasn't just a Survivor Series War Games thing. Maybe he is a part of the Vision now. And Paul Heyman. And of course, Paul Heyman has to shout out everybody. So he shouts out Drew and Brock for helping him get the War Games win. And then he goes about and he shouts out Logan Paul. He shouts out Bronson Reed. And then instead of shouting out Braun Breaker, he might have shouted him out. Oh, he did shout him out because on January 5th, the 1-year anniversary of Netflix, Raw on Netflix, we are going to get Braun Breaker versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. So that's one thing that he said. And then he hands the freaking mic to Braun Breaker, and this dude destroys this promo. Absolutely kills it. He says he is upset at how easy it was to pin CM Punk. He thought he'd have to go into a dark place, have to dig deep in his bag, having to finally fight somebody who he's watched growing up. But he says, turns out Punk is just a soft ass bitch. And he says his wife is bigger than him. He goes into this story. I mean, and I'm not doing it justice. He is like shaking. His veins are popping. You know, he's getting very Steinered out right now. And he goes into the fact that CM Punk once pulled him aside backstage and said, "You're doing great, kid, but let's see if you can cut a promo with the best of them." And he says, here's your effing promo, basically, is what he's saying. He says that Punk tried to ruin his life when he did that clothesline off the top turnbuckle at War Games when he landed on his neck. So he tried to take everything from him, and now he's going to ruin CM Punk's life. You are nothing to the badass Braun Breaker. I'm not doing this justice. Dude was killing it, man. Absolutely murdered this promo. It was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was one of the promos of the year. So, I mean, Braun Breaker puts on a fantastic promo to sell this January 5th match. I mean, I walked into this wanting Braun Breaker to speak more. I was like, I like the rumors about Braun Breaker versus CM Punk. I like the build-up athletically, physically that we've done with Braun Breaker over the last year. I believe him in the ring to be a top competitor, somebody that could go after that world championship, but I needed a little bit of promo ability, right? I wanted some proof that he can cut it on the main roster, and Raw answered that prayer, man. I mean, this dude cut one of the best single man promos that I've seen in quite some time. It kind of felt like Cody Rhodes' last promo before War Games, where he just let the emotions take over. He let himself take over. Braun Breaker looked great. He even pointed out that, like, I had the promo ability. He broke that fourth wall a little bit. So it was fantastic. I'm sold on this match. I don't know who I want to win it. At the moment, I kind of thinking that we need Braun Breaker to win that thing so that we can have CM Punk in the Rumble, in the Elimination Chamber in Chicago, stuff like that. So maybe we do move on to Braun. That'd be a hell of a way to open the year on Netflix for Raw. So I'm very interested in this match. I think Braun Breaker just single-handedly sold the damn thing. So I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fantastic. But let's move it on. We would get our next Cena semifinals match. It was Gunther versus Solo. And when this match got announced after both of them won, we all kind of sat there and went, right? It was kind of like, that's not really what we wanted. And I do have my gripes. I am actually going to give a drop, not to this match, but I'm going to give a drop to kind of how the tournament went overall. I thought we needed a Cinderella story of some sort. We got absolutely none of that throughout this tournament. There's no Cinderella story. I feel like I could talk about that for days. Anyway, these two put on a incredible match. Incredible. One of Solo's best performances, period, in the WWE. They sold it and they booked it like Solo and Gunther were both unstoppable forces. There even was multiple times throughout the match where they kept clotheslining each other, kept chopping each other, but neither guy would fall. And it was such good storytelling that way. But each time that they did that, each time they did the Battle of the Wills with their chops and their clotheslines, Gunther actually took the fall. So Solo looked really strong here, even though he had Tala Tonga on the outside. There was a part where they spilled to the outside and Solo went for a spike and Gunther moved and Solo spiked the ring post. And Gunther attacked that finger for the rest of the match. He went after it. So that was a through line throughout the entire thing. Eventually, though, we will get a spinning Solo and a splash. It ended in a 1-2-oo. Gunther gets up, goes for the sleeper hold, and when he has him in the sleeper hold, Solo gets to the turnbuckle and rips the top turnbuckle off. Well, when he rips the top turnbuckle off, the ref goes over there to fix it. Tala Tonga gets involved. And when the ref turns around, Tala Tonga has Gunther in a sleeper hold. And the ref's like, instead of disqualifying, which is kind of dumb, I know, but he walks over and he's like, well, what the hell? Why you give him a sleeper hold? Well, then Gunther kicks him in the nuts and then throws Solo into the ring. And the ref is like dealing with Tala Tonga. He's like, you can't be here. What are you doing? Well, Gunther literally shrug emojis, walks over, kicks Solo right in the nuts, gives him a hell of a power bomb, and gets the win. 1, 2, 3. Gunther gets the win over Solo. LA Knight beats Jey Uso. The final going to face John Cena in the final match will be the winner of LA Knight versus Gunther, and I absolutely love this. My biggest fear was for Jey Uso to make it there, not because I'm a Jey Uso hater, but because we just saw Gunther versus Jey Uso a bunch of times. The story's been told. This is all about John Cena's final match. We don't need more Gunther Jey Uso going into it, all right? So when LA Knight got the win, I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then, of course, Gunther has been rumored to be, going all the way for a long, long time, so it was expected to be there. But I think this is going to be a great little feud. It's only going to be like a week long, right? Or a great little, I guess we're not even even really going to get a feud, right? Because it's happening on SmackDown. But if they wanted to, they could cut a promo at the beginning of the night and go on at the very end. I think that LA Knight and Gunther could really do some good stuff in a short amount of time. I think the match will over-deliver. I think Gunther proved that with Solo, because Gunther and Solo had an absolutely fantastic match. So I'm looking forward to Gunther versus LA Knight in terms of in-ring stuff. If you wanted to do something crazy, you could maybe let LA Knight win it, but my money's on Gunther here, because I've always thought that Gunther is going to be the one to face John Cena in his final match. So pleasantly surprised they actually pulled the trigger and let LA Knight get here, because the man deserves it. And this match was absolutely fantastic. So Solo stock looks great. I'm very happy with the outcomes of the Cena tournament today and how those matches both went. We'll say here, I'm going to give a drop to the Masked Man. So Survivor Series left us with some big question mark, right? Who's the Masked Man? I mean, the Masked Man literally was the end of the War Games match. It decided the main event of a top 4 PLE. He got in the ring and he caused Braun Breaker to be able to pin CM Punk. Adam Pearce throughout Raw, every time you saw him, who's the Masked Man? Look around the building. It might be Seth Rollins. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Nothing. We didn't get anything. All we got was that it wasn't Paul Heyman's idea. Braun Breaker didn't know. Some people say it might be Seth Rollins. Nothing. Dude, we can't be doing that. How are we not going to get a Masked Man on Raw after ending a PLE that way? That's the only way that the PLE works. The only way that you can excuse the ending of a Big 4 pay-per-view like that, which felt like a big dud at the time, was for a big Raw review 2 nights, or Raw, him coming out on Raw 2 nights later and showing who he is. And oh my God, it was me. And oh my God, it was him, right? It's probably going to be Austin Theory. We wanted it to happen. We needed a reveal tonight, but we didn't get anything. Feels like a big miss, and it makes Survivor Series feel even worse. So big miss by Raw this week. We would get a little bit of thing. Ray is facing Finn next week, and he wants to come after the IC title as well. But Logan Paul walked up to him and was like, nah, the IC title is the Vision's belt. And I'm 6'3" and you're 3'6", so I'm gonna whoop up on you. Ray smacks him. So it looks like we are gonna get maybe Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul in a number 1 contender situation here. We've obviously seen that in the past with the US title, and I remember them being pretty good in the ring together. I don't really know how I feel about that. I thought Ray and Dom were going to fight over the AAA belt. I'll let that one simmer. I do like the idea of Logan Paul versus Dom, though. I know a lot of people are probably going to scoff at that, but I think that'd be fantastic. Then we get our number 1 contender final match of the night. It was Charlotte versus Rio. Whew, this thing slapped. I mean, it slapped. Right away, Charlotte, Io ducks out of the way on accident. Charlotte boots Rhea off the apron, and then Rhea does the exact same thing. Alexa ducks on accident, and she boots Charlotte off the apron to start. This match was all built up for a Charlotte and Rhea face down, and it got there. We got face to face, and they went after it. Neither one got the advantage, but they absolutely killed each other. Really good stuff here. Springboard moonsaults from the apron to the outside by Io. She's just doing insane stuff. She jumped off the cage 2 days ago. Doesn't matter. She's killing it. We got a bunch of stuff here. Natural selections. Sister Abigail's onto Io. We got pin, 1-2 oohs where the pins were getting broken up by Rhea and Charlotte and everybody here. Eventually, though, Rhea and Io got Alexa in a bad situation. Rhea hits the Riptide on Alexa. Io's ready. She makes a tag. She hits the moonsault, over the moonsault onto Alexa. We get the 1-2, and then Charlotte comes out of nowhere and spears Rhea into the pin to break it. Well, this 5-star match, or I don't know about 5 stars, but this really good match, all of a sudden, music hits. It's Kabuki Warriors. They come running out, and there's not even a tease of something. It's they walk in and they break this match up. So that right away is getting an absolute drop. So ding ding, disqualification. I didn't even write down who they kicked, so I don't even know who technically won the match on the DQ. I want to say it was probably like Io, maybe, because it's Kabuki Warriors. Why wouldn't you? Well, they started to take out absolutely everybody, but of course they were talking smack on Lyra and Bailey earlier in the night, so Lyra and Bailey come out and they start attacking everybody, or they start attacking the Kabuki Warriors. Well, Lyra's on the outside with Kairi Sane. Lyra's on top of the announce table with her Kairi stompers this week because she was about to stomp a mud hole in Kairi when Roxanne shows up and Raquel and Liv Morgan. The Judgment Day girls are here. And they're beating the hell out of everybody. We get in the ring. Raquel hits a Tijuana bomb on Asuka. Roxanne hits a Pop Rocks on Kyrie. and they go over and they pick up the belts. Interesting thing happens here at the end of Raw, though, because when Raquel and Roxanne grab those titles, Raquel, or if I can talk, when they go and grab those tag team titles at the end of it, it's Roxanne and Raquel. And Roxanne picks up the tag title and actually presents it to Liv Morgan. And Liv takes it and is like, nah, it's all yours. Because earlier in the night, she said that the Judgment Day were going to take over starting tonight. She goes and she stared down Stephanie Vaquer earlier in the night. And so this is her saying, nope, you guys handle the tag division. I'll handle the world titles. The Judgment Day are going to stand tall. Obviously, Dom's got 2 belts right now. So it's looking like Liv is making sure that the Judgment Day comes back and becomes the main part of Monday Night Raw again. And I love every single second of it because it felt immediately like Raw had changed just due to Liv Morgan being back. She has that sort of presence. She has that sort of assertion over the division. Like when they came out there and they attacked, my eyes widened. I was like, oh my God, we are doing this. We are absolutely doing this. We all thought that maybe it was going to be Roxanne in the IC title scene. We thought Raquel was maybe going to be involved in the world title scene. Now it gets flipped on its head. Liv Morgan's back. She's going after the big one. She's going to help her friends, Raquel and Roxanne. She's going to help them get the tag team titles. Judgment Day is going to take over. Maybe that means Dom will even go after the world title at some point. I would love every single second of this. I thought Raw ended on an absolutely great note. It is absolutely great having Liv Morgan back, and that is about that. So I will give the end of Raw a pop, but of course I am going to drop them ending what was a fantastic match with the Kabuki Warriors just running out there and booting people and getting a DQ. So, the DQ happened as well, right? Though I will talk about that. So Kabuki Warriors get the DQ. They make sure that nobody wins the number 1 contenders match. Lyra Bailey out there, Roxanne Raquel out there. You have 5 teams at this point. I think everybody's going to point to one thing. We want all of them in the ring, probably a ladder match for those tag team championships. Give it to us any day of the week. It will be absolutely fantastic. That's literally would be the strongest, just personnel wise, one of the strongest matches period in history. And then if you added a stipulation, like a ladder match to it for the tag team championships, I mean, those tag titles now feel like the most prestigious titles on both shows. Everybody who's anybody is going after them right now. You even have Liv Morgan involved. So just throw all of them into a ring together, preferably in ladder match style or elimination style or some crazy stipulation, and we'll all be happy. So while I didn't like them causing the DQ, I like what the future plans are probably going to look like because that's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, I gave this Raw 7 pops, 2 3 drops, and honestly, the 3 drops are a little bit, that's just to keep it spicing up. I love this episode of Raw. It was a lot of fun, and it was a ton of fun watching you with you guys on our live stream, youtube.com/COD WrestlePod. Be back for SmackDown because we're right back at it. Raw, SmackDown, PLEs. Then for everything else, it's a link tree in our bio. It's at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. The link tree will take you to all of it. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much solo-wise tonight, but I'm Will. I am right now the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.